Yo, what's
What
up,
up?
everybody?
What's
How
up,
you doing,
people?
Eric?
How's it going, man?
Good. Hey, guys. Welcome to the episode 2 of our new podcast called Hollywood Tales with my co-host, Eric Mills, out of Chicago.
What's up?
We decided to start this podcast based off of a Zoom call we had a couple weeks ago, and Eric's voice was so magnificent. All my friends were like, "Who's the guy with the great voice? He needs to do his own radio show or podcast." So
That
I
was
called him
me.
up. I said, "Hey, man, you want to do something?" He said, "Sure." So we came up with the title Hollywood Tales because we both collectively have spent 60 years in Hollywood. I know that sounds like a lot, but 30 years, 30 years. Welcome, Eric. Good to see you, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for being the impetus to us doing this. It was a great idea. I think it should be a lot of fun. Let's go, baby. Hi, Amber.
Hey, Amber. By the way, guys, if you're watching live, thank you so much. I hope you're all staying healthy and safe and vigilant out there. Today's episode, we have an awesome guest. He's a good friend of mine, a brother. I'm going to bring him on in about 15, 20 minutes. But first, Eric and I want to share a couple Hollywood tales. Bassem Youssef is our guest
He's amazing
this afternoon. And if you don't know who he is, Google him. You're going to know everything about him shortly.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an amazing guy. He took time out of his busy quarantined schedule to spend time with us. Let's get right into it.
Copy.
By the way, if you're watching live, thank you. And if you're not, and you're going to watch this at some point, this podcast will have life on Facebook and YouTube. So you can go back, rewatch it, and share. And there you go. Episode 2, Hollywood Tales. I'm broadcasting live from Miami. Eric is in Chicago. Dougie Almeida, what's up, buddy, from Florida?
What's up, Dougie? What's up, Monica?
Listen,
I love you. Amber.
Let's get into it because Bassem is our guest, and there's so much information we want to ask him and talk to him about, and there's not enough time. So
Right.
We want to get into not our best Hollywood tales, but some of our most highlighted. And they don't have to be Hollywood tales, just entertainment-related tales. So, Eric, let's start with you. People, if they don't know our background, we met at a restaurant called La Masia where we were both waiters. We were the only straight waiters in a very gay,
Castilian gay restaurant on Santa Monica.
Gay employed restaurant,
awesome.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was very awesome. That's how we met. And then we went on, and your dad's a famous, character actor, and you were in the rock and roll scene for a while. And we could talk about who we know and hung with later. But that's how we met almost 28 years ago.
Yeah.
Right after the Rodney King riots, oddly enough. And here we are, fast forward, almost 30 years later doing a podcast. What people don't know about you is that you're from Brooklyn. Your dad's a very, very well-known and respected character actor in Hollywood. He's been in umpteen thousand movies.
Ton of shit, man.
And we'll get into him, maybe a little later on the next episode if we have time. But
yeah, we'll bring him on as a guest too. He's he's a trip. He's a trip.
But
cool.
But your background is theater and music and production, and you're very well sort of trained and informed in the entertainment industry. But you're also friends with really random like rock celebrities like Guns N' Roses. So you have a pretty compelling story about doing a stage dive with Axl Rose at the height of his career. You want to get into that? Sure.
I'll tell the wild story. So if you've heard the story before, I apologize, and I'll try to keep it.
It's a great story.
It's a fun story. So Axl and I were very good friends. I was getting ready to leave for Europe. This was 1989, I think. And I call him one day. I was working at this art gallery. I call him and go, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm going to go see some bands up in Hollywood tonight. You want to go?" I said, "Sure." So I go to his house, and I'm kind of grubby. I've been working, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, you have like a leather jacket I could borrow? Some sort of rock and roll MC?" He's like, "Yeah, check in the closet." So I open the closet, and I find the white MC that he wore in the Paradise City video. Fucking badass. The big round GNR thing on the back. It's white leather. It's awesome. I was like, "Dude, can I wear this?" He's like, yeah, sure, wear it. So I put it on. We're getting ready to leave the house, and he says, "Hey, dude, can you hold my wallet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And he holds it up, and it's like bigger than this. It's like this big, huge wallet with a zipper around it. I'm like, yeah, so let me see. And in the jacket, all MCs have that like diagonal zipper, and it's kind of a deep pocket. So I put it in, it's sticking out about an inch, and I'm like, I got it. He's like, you got it. I'm like, I got it. Let's go. So we get to the club, and Faith No More is playing in Soundgarden. We're talking to the Soundgarden guys, and Paul Jones from the Sex Pistols was playing. He was like the mainliner, headliner. So we get to the show, and Axl and I would do we would do stage dives. So we did that at a lot of different shows. I jump on stage when he was playing. We jump into the audience, and we go see shows, and we do a stage dive. It was kind of, we did it a number of times. It was fun. And we do a stage dive, you kind of jump out into the audience, and as you jump out, you kind of flip over, and they kind of catch you. You're on your back, and they carry you around. And it was a thing. So anyway, so we're at the show. And it's at Hollywood Live, which is where they now film the Jimmy Kimmel Show. It's the white building with the big pillars that's right next to the El Capitan Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. And it was like this big space, and the stage that was in there at the time was really high. It was like had to be 6 foot or 7 foot. It was a really high stage compared to most stages at like the Whiskey or wherever. So we're watching the show, and then Jonesy starts playing. Jonesy's band comes on, and we're watching. The place is crowded, and it's dark. And Axl is like, "Dude, let's go do a stage dive." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's go do a stage dive, dude. Sounds good. Good plan." The problem is, to get on top of the stage, you didn't crawl up on front of the stage and then jump out. You would have to go around the stage because it was so high up, and climb up the stairs and like in the wings. So we climb up in the wings, and they're fucking rocking out, and we're sort of in the wings for a second, wait for a moment, and then it comes, and we both run out onto stage, and we're fucking slamming with each other and into the guys, and kind of slam into Jonesy for a minute, and then we both get to the edge of the stage, and we dive out over the audience, and it was packed, and the entire audience looks up and goes, "Axl Rose!" and clears the fucking floor beneath me. So as I'm flying through the air, I'm seeing the fucking crowd thin, and I fly through the air and land flat on my back. And like I thought like I broke my back. It was fucking brutal. And I'm sitting there, I'm laying there, I'm going, can't breathe. And I stand up, and fucking Axl's getting carried around the crowd, like, they're like, they're singing, "He's a jolly good fella." It's ridiculous. And I'm sitting there and I can't breathe. And I'm trying to get myself together, and I realize that I lost his wallet. It's not in the pocket anymore. So excuse me. So I'm like, fuck. So I'm looking for it, and I can't find it. I'm looking around, and I'm in a packed, dark, beer swill and funky, nasty shit on the fucking ground. Everybody's kicking empty bottles and shit. And I'm trying to find this wallet in the dark, and I can't find it. I'm like, I cannot find it anywhere. So I'm looking for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I want to die. I just feel awful. I feel awful. So they finally put Axl down from his triumphant lap around the fucking audience. And he walks over. He was like, "Well, that was cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can't find your wallet, bro." And he's like, "Dude, a lot of money." I'm like, my cards, all my shit's in there. I'm like, I looked, I can't find the fucking thing. I don't say. So he says, "Well, come with me." So we go to a guard, and we find one of the security guards, and we get a couple of flashlights. So Axl Rose, who's the biggest rock and roll star on the planet, he and Bono, so Guns N' Roses, U2 at the time, the two biggest bands on the planet. Axl Rose and I are crawling through people's feet on this nasty, slimy fucking floor, and they're like kind of looking down. They're watching the show, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And we're like, "Sorry, sorry." And we do that for about 10 or 15 minutes. We can't find the fucking thing, and we stand up, and I want to cry. I want to give him his jacket and sulk home. And some young guy walks up, and he's holding the wallet. He's like, "Axl, I got your wallet." And X turns around, and he opens it up, and everything is in there. The money, all the cash, everything hasn't been untouched. And he's like, "Dude." And the guy's like standing there like, huh. So Axl peels off like $500 or something, like a bunch of bills, and hands it to the guy. And the guy's like, "Dude, I don't want your money, bro. That's not, it's cool." And Axel goes, dude, I'd rather lose the wallet and have you bring it back like this than not lose it at all. Take the fucking money, dude. Love you. Thank you. And the guy's like, wow, thanks, bro. And he's like, just like, he leaves. And I'm like, Axel, I lost the wallet. What do I get? He's like, motherfucker. And anyway, so that's the nickel version of me losing Axel's wallet. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
I've heard that story. I think this is the fourth time I've heard it.
Sorry,
and it never gets old. It's just a great rock and roll, but not like you were out doing like drugs and partying and strip clubs. Like you lost Axl Rose's wallet during the stage dive. That's just a random story.
I have a couple of stories like that about that aren't just being at some house in the hills and doing fucking lines for 2 days. I mean, I have those too, but I have a lot of cool stories that are just like random. Like you did like what?
Well, that's why the podcast is called Hollywood Tales.
That's exactly correct.
So that's one tale that Eric will be telling of many, and I have some great Hollywood tales. Nothing near that story, but
you got some good ones, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you. I have one quick story I'll tell before we bring on our guest Bassem Youssef.
Is this a story that I know kind of a little bit?
Yeah. So I in 2000, between 2007 and 2012, I was touring the Middle East quite a bit. We had a very successful comedy tour called the Axis of Evil Comedy Tour. Made history in the Middle East, performed in front of tens of thousands of Arabs and Muslims, and literally performed in front of every, in almost every country in the Middle East. But I was invited to perform in Yemen, and I was in Yemen doing a show in front of like 500 people. And after the show, and it was like the wealthiest of the wealthiest in Yemen, like there's upper class, lower class, and then there's no middle class. So all the upper class people were there. The parking lot was filled with Ferraris and Bentleys and Porsches and whatnot. I do a show. There was a couple opening acts. I had a great set. Did a meet and greet after the show. We're wrapping up. We're getting ready to leave. And 4 men dressed in military garb, like army regalia, come walking in with this guy like who was like the leader. He was in the front. And they had a big box with them. And the guy says, "Excuse me, are you Ahmed?" And I was like, who's asking? He said, "I am from the military of Yemen, and the general Ahmed Muhammad Saleh, whatever, says he's a big fan of yours. He loves the Axis of Evil comedy, but he was not able to attend your show, so he'd like to give you this." And he gives me this box, and I'm like, what the fuck's in this box? He's a fan, but what did I do? Anyway, so, thank you very much. Salam alaikum. And he leaves. And I'm just like, I don't know should I open this? I open it up, and it's this beautiful, like sterling silver sword with a sheath, like something from like the 1900s. And Yemeni, I don't know if you have that picture. There it is. That's the sword.
He's so badass.
I was gifted that sword by the general of the military in Yemen, who, oddly enough, was assassinated along with his father, who was the president of Yemen. So I got gifted a sword by, I don't know. Does the sword have blood on its head? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do with it. I just have it sitting in my closet. I don't know what to do with it. Should I show it off? Should I sell it? Should I?
Well, I know, like during the riots, you had that shit close by just in case. So.
Oh yeah, during the LA riots,
right? You could have blooded it.
I was like, "This is from Yemen."
Is that? I don't know if Yusuf has the other picture with the hand holding the sword. They should just just rain death down. It's awesome.
I've had people like gift me with like a bottle of tequila or 2 tickets to the Lakers game, or here's a cool jacket, but a sterling silver like Yemeni warrior sword.
Badass. There it is.
There it is.
Got to fucking cut off the head of some motherfucking infidels, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I got to sharpen it first, but yeah.
Well,
so that's my. It's not a Hollywood tale, but that's my sword story. All right. we're going to keep moving because we have about 30 more minutes, and our next guest is going to take up probably a good time of that because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to learn about him. This guy just keeps reinventing himself. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest started out as a heart surgeon. He's my brother from Egypt. He started doing a daily show type of segment, much like Jon Stewart, out of the basement of his house called Al Barnameg, which I believe means the show in Arabic. It's a very satirical kind of poking at the government. He got so popular that they gave him his own TV show, the actual networks in Egypt. He was all over Egypt. He posted that YouTube clip of his show in his basement, and he got 5 million hits, I think, the next day. He went on to become a superstar in Egypt, major following, not only Egypt, the whole Middle East.
Didn't he at one point he had like 40% of the entire population of Egypt watching his show?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, man.
This is right around the Arab Spring. Of course, his show, because it's political satire, he would poke fun at the government and military and officials, and for that reason, he was forced to leave Egypt. So we're gonna bring him on now. He's living in the U.S. He's pursuing stand-up comedy. He's a super funny guy. He's a father. He's a husband. He was on the cover of Time magazine, I think
he was one of the most influential people on the planet in 2013.
Yep. That's right. Thanks for doing your research, Eric.
You're welcome. I'd like to say one thing. When you told me that Bassem was going to be on the show, and I was like, yeah,
sure.
I know that name. How do we know that name? And I looked him up. This guy is amazing. He blew my mind. And what it just, I felt ashamed for not knowing who he was right off the bat. He's a badass dude. I'm like this kind of like privileged white dickhead. I got to go to LA and get my Harley Davidson. And this guy's like trying to change the world. He's
seriously, not
he's
trying. He's doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has a lot of stuff going on in his career and his life, but he's very good friends with Jon Stewart. He knows a lot of Hollywood celebrities, but more importantly, he is doing a whole plant-based vegan initiative called Plant B. I'll let him talk about that when he comes on. But he also made a really cool award-winning documentary that was a follow-up of a best-selling book that he wrote called Tickling Giants. So we're going to show a trailer for the documentary. It's on Netflix. Check it out, and then we'll bring Bassem on. Have a look.
Protesters on the streets in Cairo, Egypt.
Violent clashes are raging once again.
Bloody clashes between protesters and security forces.
More than 1,200 people have died.
عايز اقول لك حاجه البلد يا ريس لا حقيقي بجد يعني.
Bassem Youssef is known as Egypt's Jon Stewart.
30 million viewers for his weekly program.
40% of the entire population is watching.
It's someone who's saying things that are similar to what we're saying to each other, things that are not usually on TV.
I think it's very brave of him.
Egypt's public prosecutor has ordered the arrest of popular television presenter Bassem Youssef.
They're saying that he has insulted President Mohamed Morsi and insulted Islam.
That a comedian would be a wanted man is itself an astonishing thing.
Does satire get you into trouble?
I'll tell you this, it doesn't get me into the kind of trouble that gets you into.
أن أقتل باسم يوسف ليس الآن.
ليس الآن.
It's fine to work from home if you want to because it could be safer. What are we going to do?
I have absolutely no manual to do this.
The revolution is going through a very critical moment. We've been waiting for something to happen.
وهنقول كل اللي نفسنا فيه ومش هنخاف من حد. This show is about holding authority accountable, regardless of who's in charge.
Screw them.
We are the voice of the people.
funny.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Bassem Youssef, everybody.
I was just watching the trailer. Oh my God! The quarantine got the best of me. Look at my hair. I'm looking like shit. It's just
handsome as ever.
People were like expecting to see like a guy in a suit coming up, like in all of his glamour, and now I'm sitting here in Los Angeles, can't even have a fucking haircut, and didn't have time to shave my beard. It's like damn. Anyways, thank you guys for having me. Thank you for the amazing introduction. I just want to say that like I was not actually. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for all of the people who are saying that you're amazing, judged on what's there on the television, which don't believe it. I'm a shithole of a person. But anyway, the thing is, what you didn't mention is actually I was never trained to be a comedian or a TV person. I was actually a heart surgeon. I was a heart surgeon for 19 years of my life. And the reason I always say like, oh my God, you were for 19 years of my life I studied and I worked as a heart surgeon in Egypt. And it's very important that people know that in the Middle East these are the choices that are given to you. You have one of three choices: to be a doctor, or an engineer, or a disappointment. So that was the choices that was given. So I chose. I think I went into medicine just by exclusion, because I hated math and I hated to be a disappointment. And I actually managed to get a fellowship in one of the most beautiful and amazing cities in America, Cleveland. And and thank God we had a revolution and chaos to kind of abort this horrible move of mine. And I stayed. And when we had that, I did the YouTube channel and the YouTube show. And basically in a few weeks, I got my first ever TV offer. And I had like 5 million viewers in a couple of weeks. And of course, like that was 2011. When you hear 5 million, that's like how much your cat gets if it farts on YouTube. But at that time, that was a big deal. And then I had like the same day I had the offer for our TV show, the papers from Cleveland arrived, and I had to make the choice. And I remember that was like 1st of May, 2011. Should I continue and pursue my life, saving people's life, fixing people's hearts, doing like being a doctor, saving people's, it's like it's a very noble profession. Or should I choose a life of empty fame and money? I chose the fucking money, and that was not very difficult. I mean, I would love to tell you like it was a struggle. It's like it has like money and fame and fucking Cleveland. What do you think? So I went into that, and that is how my life in television started.
So Bassem, look, we've known each other. We met in 2012 in Alexandria. You and I.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen so many people gather around somebody because I didn't know you back then. I didn't know who you were. The promoters said, "Oh, there's this guy, Bassem Youssef. He's a big YouTube star in the Middle East, and he's going to host this show." And I went online and I saw you a little bit. But after the show, I wasn't shocked. I was pleasantly surprised. Everybody flocked toward you. They didn't really want to talk to the American comics. They wanted to talk to Bassem.
This was one of the most embarrassing moments in my life. I'll tell you why. So the promoters, that was like, I already like left YouTube and already on television. But then they were telling me all of these names coming from America. And these are names that I have followed them for years. People have been on like an Axis of Evil and other comedians. If you remember the comedians there, they were like, freaking amazing, and it's like, oh my God, you want me to host those people that I've been watching? Cool. So I'm on the way to Alexandria. So Alexandria is kind of like our coastal cities, like about 200 kilometers or whatever the fuck that in miles. And I'm where metric system, guys, metric system. The drug dealers got it right. So anyway, so we are on the high road sorry, on the highway, high road is something else. The highway, and I'm looking at the banners for the show, and here it is, Eric, my face so big, and the other like world class comedians like smaller.
Awesome.
And I called them. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You are putting it." And then the promoter was very realistic. It's like, "Yeah, in Egypt they don't know who these people are. They just know you." I was like, I cannot
That's
see
true.
their face. And I was, and
I love that.
And the first thing that I did when I met the comedians, including Ahmed and Maz and what's his name, the
Dean Edwards or.
yeah, and the first thing I went in, I was like, "I'm so sorry. That was not my idea. Please don't hate me." Because it's like, oh, we're coming here to the Middle East, and this who the fuck is that guy who has his face 10 times bigger than all of us combined? And it's just like, guys, you really. And but it's just like I kept apologizing for 3 days for the comedians. It's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so
never
tired.
apologize.
I'm so sorry.
Eat that
How
shit
do
up with a spoon, man. Come on, that's good stuff.
Yeah,
No,
no, it's yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you never apologize for that. First of all, second of all, none of us were on the cover of Time magazine as one of the most.
I was never on the cover. I was that was a doc. I was one of the Time 100, but the whole thing with me on the cover of Time, that was made up. That's someone that was fan art. I just want to tell people, so if they fake news. So if you will go and try there, by the way, have you noticed there's so many fake Time magazine covers?
Yeah, I know, I've seen those.
Oh,
But you were still in Time magazine.
I was in, but not on the cover. I'm
one of the most influential people of all time. Come on, man.
Not on the cover.
Jesus.
Not on the cover. That is the difference between being a Playboy model and Miss December. Totally different. Totally different. I was not Miss December. I was just one of the others who were just doing normal porn stuff. That is just me.
Right.
Just putting things in perspective.
Eric, do you have any questions for Mr. Bassem Youssef? I think you wanted to pick his brain a little bit.
I just think it's amazing. I was going through some background because I guess you probably heard the intro, and I was like, and it sounded familiar, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. And I liked a couple of things that you said, that the freedom of people can be judged by their laughter. I thought that was kind of cool. I never really thought of it that way. And going along with the fact that nothing is above satire. And I find it amazing that my understanding is that I know you had to leave Egypt, but you had a chance to go back and said, we can come back and we'll give you the show, and you have a house and you're raised and all this stuff. But you can't touch the government. And you were like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's amazing to me. I mean, it's not a question necessarily. I don't know if I have a question in there, but that really stuck with me. And I thought that was an amazing thing. And I don't know. I'm trying to articulate what
I mean, maybe like the whole thing is about choices here, because even after like the government crackdown, I had multiple chances to stay and do my show if I played by the rules. And I even if I escaped, like the people from the authority just like sent people after me to negotiate me coming back. It's just like there's going to be an understanding. And what does that mean? I'm going to be censored.
Right, you're going to be censored. I would imagine that they would want you back because you have such a following. You have such a
no, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
In authoritarian countries, anybody with an influence that you cannot control,
that's what I mean,
is a danger.
But if they could bring you back and you were sort of under that control and you were okay with the censorship, then it's almost like they have another outlet, sort of.
Yeah, but they don't. But here's the thing: the whole there is something common between militarized and religious regimes. They both have the same mindset. Right. It's an army. It's a cult. It is a way to control people. That's why they all look the same. They talk the same. They think the same. Whether that is an army uniform or the way that you think that a Muslim should be dressed or look alike. And someone who will walk out of the ranks is a danger. And the thing is, they don't want to spend that much brain power in order to control the people when someone else is trying to poke fun in what they're trying to do.
Right. I understand that. I totally get that.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. And whether it was the Islamists or the military, it was the same idea. And under the Islamist, I was actually arrested and interrogated for 6 hours with the general prosecutor there. And it was funny because when I said like what were my accusation, he said like insulting Islam, insulting the president, spreading false rumors, and disrupting the fabric of society, which is like whatever the fuck that means. Because and that is the danger. That is the danger of vague accusations, because how can you defend that? It's like, you're disrupting the fabric of society. I don't think I did, but we think that you did. It's just like, it's very subjective.
Right.
And it was funny when I went in and I told them, so, all right, how are we going to verify those accusations? I said, like, well, we have actually recorded your episodes and we are going to watch it together. And you are going to
have a viewing session.
We are going to ask you to explain your jokes.
Wow.
And I said, is this my torture? Because that's the worst thing. Because like it's like, hey, what did you mean by this? And then and here's the thing. So they brought in the episodes and they were recorded not on DVDs or VHSs or even a flash drive. They got it on those cheap 700 megabyte CDs. And they attempted to play it on a desktop computer using Windows 95 operating system, and for 20 minutes they tried and it didn't work. And so I stood up actually and I tried to help them. So here I am. I became their IT guy, helping them, and I'm trying to help them to play the evidence against me. And I'm looking back to my lawyer, and he's about to shoot himself. Like, what the fuck are you doing? and it so it didn't work. So I thought that's it. It's like, no, but we have transcripts, and that's the thing about bureaucracy and oppression. They're very prepared, and so they so for 6 hours they basically reading back my jokes to me, and I had two things running in my mind. It's like, one, will I ever get out of this? And two, the jokes are not that funny and I need to change my writers. And and yeah, so it was very surreal. It was very surreal. But like, thank God. I mean, like, I left and I came here. I escaped a dictatorship and I came to America just in time as you guys starting your own dictatorship. Fuck my life. Thank you very much. And it's
want to make you feel at home, buddy. That's all.
It's like, by the way, I live on 6th Street in Los Angeles. I'm 3 blocks away from like the Grove where all of the clashes happened. Mm-hmm. And like and I had tear gas coming into my house. It's like, no way. Oh my God, memories. But this is what because like we had our theater right next to Tahrir Square. So oftentimes, whenever there were clashes, we smelled the tear gas. But there's a big difference. The tear gas here smells much nicer, and I'll tell you. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing because the tear gas that the police is using against us in Egypt are still American made. They are like made in the USA. But there is one big difference. You know what? What? The one that we use back in Egypt is fucking expired. So so now everybody here in America is like, oh my God, tear gas! It's like, actually it's quite nice. I'm used to the expired. That's actually not so bad. And I started like, hey kids, come. Smell the American tear gas. It is actually not bad. Come. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's not bad. And then it's kind of like, yeah, it's yeah, and
I'm dying right now. Real quick, Youssef, our producer engineer, can you come on really quick and just show your beautiful face here, brother?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yes.
This is Youssef Hawash, our Libyan American producer engineer. Just
Yes.
wanted to bring you on really quick. Any questions for Bassem? Any viewers watching asking any questions for Bassem?
that popped on right there.
Yeah, why not start a new sarcastic show, but not about politics? Well, here's the thing. Okay, first of all, where is it? Is it directed to the Middle East? I believe that comedy need to address the most important things in your society. So if you are in a society that is for me, the Arab world needs to talk about freedom and basically to be a secular free country. And what happens now, there's still a lot of comedy in the Middle East, but what they do, they don't touch on any of that. So what else do you have? Yep. Let's talk about traffic. Let's talk about romance. Let's talk about mundane stuff. And in this case, comedy becomes escapism. It's still comedy, but that's not like I cannot do easy social. I even in my stand-up comedy, when I go out, I don't do social comedy. It's like, hey, I dated this girl and her mouth stinks. I can't do that. I can't talk about like I went to that club, and I'm concerned more about what is important to us, and everything can be traced back to politics. Even religion can be traced back to politics. So that's the thing. What I'm trying to do right now in America, which is it wasn't very easy. It's to reinvent myself, to try to be a performer, a comedian, with in a second language, and that's hard. I was never trained as a stand-up comedian. I did a show, a desk political satire show in Egypt, and then suddenly I have to survive. I cannot reminisce about what I missed, what I cannot have back there. So I had to try to recreate a career now that is based on performance in a different language. And some nights are very good, and sometimes are terrible, because it's not about the language. It's about retraining and rewiring my brain. It's about like the pausing, the context, the speed, the cadence, what words work and what doesn't. It's not just translation. Even if I'm speaking English well, it's a third language when you talk about humor, and it's a fourth language when you do stand-up comedy.
Well, by the way, that's normal for any stand-up comedian, American, non-American. We all.
Are you saying that I'm not special? I'm
No, you're Time Magazine. Remember Time Magazine?
I don't care. I do my horn.
Let me ask you this, Bassem. You were a big star in the Middle East, and you had your own show, and you were doing the political satire, but then you were banned from performing, and all that was kind of taken away. Being in the U.S., doing stand-up comedy now, you must feel a sense of freedom just because you have freedom of speech, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, there are other troubles too. I mean, there is, you have, but here, this is, you have freedom of speech, of course, but there's certain things that you cannot speak about here too.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, no, there's certain stuff that you can talk about.
Well, now because the PC culture is so.
Well, you have the PC, but you can also lose your career if you said the wrong thing. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I want to ask, I want to answer like two questions. One of them: are you still communicating with your teamwork there, Bassem? It's like, yes, I do. Well, I mean, on friendly basis, of course. And Amr is asking, do you know how strong Egypt now in the region? Okay, good for them. What does this have to do with anything? But that's good for them. Okay, I will never be sad if my country is strong. But like, I don't think that has to do anything with. I mean, and I think it's like if it's good for them if they're strong, and I'm sure if they're strong enough, they wouldn't mind a comedy show, right? And who's supporting you financially, Bassem? Live shows can be. I love that. This is kind of like a kind of. It's like who is supporting you? Who is supporting you? It's like, yeah, the CIA is supporting me. What do you think? It's like, and as a matter of fact, I have been. I've been doing a lot of live shows and a lot of speaking engagement, and alhamdulillah, it is it is supporting me financially. And I'm sure, Muhammad, if I need any money, I will call you. Okay. It's kind of like, I know this is kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of question. Like, oh wow, what's this? I think there's a bug. I think there's a bug. Anyways. Yes, I am. It's kind of like who's supporting you? Who's like, this whole thing about conspiracy if you're against the country, someone is supporting you. And if believe me, if someone is supporting you, I would be living in a much bigger house. I'm not gonna have to be in the balcony right now, but that's good.
Listen, we have a few minutes. I just want to.
And my Instagram is @Bassem, just like my name, and Bassem. It's very easy. Yes.
There you go, Corinne.
Actually,
love you, Corinne.
Yusuf, maybe you can post that up on the little ticker below @Bassem.
Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't really need any more followers. You have tens of millions of followers.
Tens
follow
of millions?
us.
No.
Well, between Twitter, Facebook,
but
Instagram.
please follow me too.
follow Bassem on Instagram. It's always so great to, we did one of these Instagram lives a few weeks, maybe a month ago or whatever, and you were the first one I did actually. So it was a couple months ago. So thank you for that.
Of course.
I just want to wrap up a couple questions before we log out here. One is, what are you working on? I know you're doing this virtual stuff, but you have a Plant B.
Well, I work on so many things now. First of all, in my entertainment career, I am there's a touring that was canceled, but they are being rebooked now, which is great. So I'm going back on tour, and it's good because sometimes you go in a weekend and you have 5 shows, which is amazing. Yeah. And hopefully, I want to sell that as a special. I'm working on development. There's 2 different TV shows that I'm working on, and I just published a book, a children's book that might actually go into animation, which is great. It's going to be published on February of next year, and it's with Scholastic, which is the publishing house of Harry Potter. So that's amazing.
Great.
And I on the non-entertainment kind of business, I have started an initiative called Plan B, which is teaching people how to overcome their chronic disease through changing their diet and lifestyle. And it's been gaining a lot of traction. And so far, we're doing it kind of like giving advice to people, but we are actually going to start this as a business, and supplying people with food and medical consultation. The free form will always be there, but also we want to help so many people in order to reverse their disease. So that's going to start maybe by the end of the year. So, and there's negotiation with different networks in the Middle East to do that as a reality TV show, kind of a transformation kind of show. When you have like diseases and you get rid of them, So that's happening.
Well, my diet certainly got better after our talk.
I remember, yes.
We were Bassem and I were sitting in Dubai, and he literally convinced me to be vegan. And I did it for 2 days, and then I broke. But then I went back and I did it. Now I eat a little bit of meat here and there, but I'm trying to stay primarily vegan.
We know people get surprised, like, "Oh my God, you're vegan?" It's like, yes, I'm an Arab and vegan, which makes me scary and annoying.
All right, let's wrap up with this. And first of all, will you come back and do our podcast again sometime?
Anytime, Habibi. Anytime.
Habibi, I love you so much. I just, the podcast is called Hollywood Tales. You mentioned that you don't have any Hollywood tales, but you seem to rub elbows with every single person in Hollywood. So you must have a great story of somebody you met that you really enjoyed meeting, or
I guarantee you have one, brother.
Somebody that you just
more
than one. Starstruck by anybody, or
I mean, Jon Stewart, of course.
Yeah, well, you and Jon Stewart.
I mean, Jon Stewart. I was on Jon Stewart 4 times. But what is special is that I wasn't just on his show. He came to my show in Cairo.
Yeah.
He was shooting Rosewater in Jordan, and he came to support me. And he could not believe the kind of reception that he had in Cairo. And I remember him coming in from like outside, and people kind of look over him, and he said this. He said, "I could not have imagined that a short Jewish guy from Jersey would be welcomed that much in Cairo." It was like, it made his day. It made his day. And for me, it was more of a validation. It's kind of like I said, you know what? You see, I love Muhammad Ali. Did you ever criticize the society you're living in? Yes, I'm criticizing the society I'm living in. I'm criticizing Donald Trump. I'm describing the freaking Fox News and the other people. But the fact is that you don't see it. I love the fact that they give you the catch-22. You know, at least I'm here in a society that I'm criticized. How about you criticize the society you're in? It's kind of they think that when you criticize the society that you hate the society or you hate the country. It's out of love because you want to do it to make your country better.
Right.
So yes, I've been criticized. As a matter of fact, I have been in places in the Deep South making fun of Donald Trump, the president of the United States, which is something that you cannot do in your own country. So shut the fuck up, Mohammed.
Guys, we have to wrap it up here, but we have our lovely, beautiful, and amazing guest, my brother, Bassem Youssef.
Bassem, thank you so much for being
follow
here.
him on follow him on Instagram, follow him on Twitter, check out his documentary and his book, Tickling Giants. It's amazing, it's powerful. And Habibi Bassem, thank you so much for sparing your time for us. And
thank you so
come
much.
back again soon, okay?
Thank you. Yeah. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.
See you, brother. Bye-bye. Dude, he's amazing.
All right, Eric. Right? I mean, he's
awesome.
He's fucking cool.
We have to have him back. We have to please have him back at some point.
Yeah.
Everybody that was watching just dug it. And we're going to get a lot more as people rewatch this. But he's just a fucking inspiration, man. Very, very cool dude. So thank you for having him and getting him on the show, brother.
Yeah. And we have, Eric and I are going to be banking a lot more episodes. So stay tuned. Follow us at emills119. Is that it?
Emills399.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Emills399 on Instagram. I'm at Ahmed Comedy, AHMED. This is episode 2 of Hollywood Tales. Our guest was Bassem Youssef. Eric, any closing words, statements, anything you want to throw in?
No, man, I'm just digging it. Having somebody like that on I feel humbled to be on, on any sort of a platform, my face on the same screen as him. He's an amazing dude. So that was very cool. It felt great. People that tuned in, Amber, Monica, Corinne, Sarah, my cousin John, Gary, everybody, thank you for checking it out. And we'll do it again. We'll keep doing it. So just keep tuning in. Love you guys. Ahmed, brother, love you. Youssef, fucking killing it. Thank you.
Youssef, you want to come back on here really quick so people can see your pretty face?
That's the man.
There he is.
Thank you.
Youssef Hawash, everybody. He is our awesome, comedic, friendly engineer, producer, broadcasting out of Phoenix. I'm in Miami. Eric's in Chicago. We love you all. Thanks for chiming in. This episode was a little bit shorter than the last one, but we're going to average 45 minutes to an hour plus. And stay tuned. We don't know who our next guest is. They just call me daily or I call them, but we have some really cool people in the queue. So stay tuned. And thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend and God bless everybody.
Bye, you guys.